In end of the 18th century, the cello in Ottoman Empire, let's say Constantinople or Istanbul, was just not a favorite place for cello. In that time, there was no formal education in Ottoman Empire. In the beginning of 20th century, a few cellists, one of them was Popper, David Popper, maybe you heard his name. He was a very famous Austrian-Hungarian cellist. They came and played in a few occasions, but there was no formal cello education or performances in Istanbul, in Perak, let's say. The first example is Jenerik. He's the piece he composed, Jenerik, cello composed, which name is Rebellion. I played it a few years ago. He was another musician's son, Nuri Jingle. So it was a French style piano accompanied cello piece. I played, but I didn't record it. I have a YouTube site if you'd like to hear about Turkish cello pieces. We have recorded and broadcasted 105 episodes already. Turkish cello pieces and composers, if you write it in YouTube. And if you write it in Google, you can find another Turkish cello and pieces. Türk Cello, Viyolonsel, Eserleri ve Bestecileri website also. So we have put all that 443 pieces, at least names over there, and you can make a research, the composing year, the style, if it's a solo cello piece or full cello piece or a concerto, whatever. So you can find over there website and a YouTube channel. In YouTube channel, there's many composers, performers, the orchestral directors who conducted or composed. All of them made many conversations with us. And we already lost 5 of our guests in the time. We started 5 years ago, these conversations, which broadcast in YouTube. Jenerik is our first example. I just made a few examples of who composed, what composed. The second one is, which is very important to us. Have you heard his name, Jenerik? Any familiar? He has educated in. He was a noble families in Ottoman Empire son. He lived in Istanbul and he died in Istanbul. He was born in 1905 and died in 1985. He made many different styles of music. We call them Cumhuriyet'in 5 ünlü Turkish Republic's famous 5 composers. He's one of them. So he composed 2 pieces. First one, he went to Paris for education and demanded by Atatürk he has to come back to give lectures in Istanbul Conservatoire, which name was not that one, Istanbul Conservatoire. Introduction and dance for cello and piano. It's a small piece for maybe 5 minutes takes. I played a few times that piece. They are not very popular things in Turkey because this kind of research did not make in any other country as far as I know. You cannot find a Norwegian violin pieces and composers, or you cannot find a Colombian horn composers and pieces. It is only research, as far as I know, for a country's one instrument only. So he composed another kind of a concerto, pieces concertos, in 1954, who is played by Pierre Fournier. He was a very famous French cellist. And they made only one recording, and it never played again after that performance. Even for the first piece, Introduction and Dance, it just played only 2 times. And our third example is Ahmet Adnan Saygun. He is one of that 5 big composers of founding time of Turkish Republic. He was one of our teachers in Ankara Devlet Konservatuari. But later, normally he was born in Istanbul, as we expected, in 1907. He got back to Istanbul in 1970s, and he founded Mimar Sinan Conservatoire, which is one of the most important conservatories of Istanbul and Turkey. He composed 3 different pieces. One of them is Piano Sonata. He has 3 different composing style eras for Adnan Saygun by his terms. The second one is solo partita for solo cello, which was originally a theatrical acts introduction piece. So it is our most famous Turkish cello piece in the world. It has been played by Yo-Yo Ma, it has been played by which we made a speech with him, and we put on our YouTube channel also how he played. It's played by many different cellists. For instance, Alexander Rudi, which is a very famous Russian cellist, is also in Moscow, and he's the head of the cello department of Moscow State Conservatory at this moment. And Ivan Gerard also played this piece. It is our most famous, most well-known Turkish cello piece, the Partita for Solo Cello, which is composed in 1955. And in 1987, Adnan Saygun, one of his last pieces, he composed a cello concerto, which is first time it's played by my and Yiğit Hoca, our teacher Doğan Cengal. He played first time that concerto in 1987, which we made another episode about it with our teacher Doğan Cengal. It is also that the cello concerto is played for many times, which is also very famous. And these are also Adnan Saygun's 3 cello pieces. And Hasan Ferit Anlar is another Turkish cello. He was also one of our teachers in 1940s. Our school's first cello teacher was David Zirki in 1930s, which our school founded in 1936. He dedicated his concerto for him, and the first performance of the cello concerto was 1941 in our school, the first building in Cebeci, concert hall with our school orchestra. With the Republican Presidential Symphony Orchestra with David Zirki. They played, but there is no recording of it because it was wartime, and it was 1941, which is not very fortunate times. And it played many times after that, maybe 5 or 6 times, but it's not very common. It's the style of the concerto is a bit Eastern style, because Hasan Ferit Alnar was a very famous kanun player. He was a very talented also player, not just only a composer. And Necip Kazım Akses. Necip Kazım Akses is also our first of our 5 important composers of Turkish Republic. He composed many cello pieces because he was originally a cellist. He educated with Zilki in that time, of course. He also born in 1908, died 1999, and he was our teacher in his last recent years of his life. He composed 4 cello pieces. One of them is Poem in 1946, one of them is İdi, which is written for a cello competition in Mimar Sinan, Istanbul Mimar Sinan Conservatoire's cello competition, that İdi for cello, and Symphony Roman Nesca Fantasia for cello solo, and orchestra concerto normally, which is recorded by Ali Doğan, one of our ex-teachers who taught here, Ali Hoca. So he composed these 3 pieces, but they are not very well known as Adnan Saygın, but it's also our one of the role models of Turkey. And have you heard İlhan Sonbaş name? Any familiarity of this name, İlhan Sonbaş? No? İlhan Sonbaş also, after that first 5 important composers, he is, let me say, the 2nd generation. He died last year in 2025 when he was 104 years old. We made a reportage with him. We also have a chapter for him in our. He was also a cellist. Then he became very important role of teaching and composing. He is teacher of many important Turkish composers our time. That's why he made so many cello pieces, which recorded very rarely, because he was a very modern composer, which is not very favorable in our culture. But they are marvelous pieces. The first one is Music for Cello and Piano. I played 2 times. They are more harmonic, let's say. 3 pieces for clarinet cello, 2 pieces for violin and cello, which we did not play never, as far as I know. Rassamsal for cello piano, which is played for 1 time. Kaynak for piano solo and A cello and 4 double bass. As far as I know, there is only 1 performance of it. Partita for solo cello, which is influenced by Johann Sebastian Bach's birth time, 1985, 300 years of celebration of Johann Sebastian Bach. Music for cello in 1994, 1997, another piece, and music for 2 cellos, 1999, which he was 78 years old the last time he composed something for cello, which we have all these pieces, notes already, scores. Yalçın Sunan he is alive, as fortunes for us. He is a very famous composer for different styles. He composed many cinematic film scores already composed, and very famous film music he composed, like Ennio Morricone. So a popular style films he composed, many interesting pieces, and he composed a cello concerto, which is recorded for 2 times. No, played 2 times, and we have a recording for it, which is on our YouTube channel. You may hear it if you like to. And Sonata for Cello and Piano in 2006, which is played only once, and we made an interview for who played it, and last year he suddenly died very suddenly, so we have already the story of the performance of this cello sonata. And Ekrem Zeki, he is the son of the first general music director of Presidential Symphonic Orchestra, Viyolonsel Symphonic Orchestra. He is also a violinist, and he composed many small pieces for cello. Only one concerto, which is played and composed in 1961, which we don't have any recording yet, because it just only played for once with some symphonic orchestra. These pieces, which we have all scores of them, which we cleared of them. Normally it was all handwriting, and now we have notes with perfect condition. He composed from 1933 till 1980, which he born in 1910, died in 1987. So we have, except the first piece, İlker, for cello and piano, only that piece we don't have got records, the scores of the piano. And Kemal Demirci is another example of a different style of composing, which also from Ankara, also from one of our teachers also. He was born in 1910, till he died in 1986. He composed a effect orchestra for cello, solo cello in an orchestra. It is played only once in 1972 with Nusret Kayar, was the soloist of the cello part. 5 years after he composed the piece. Both of them are lost. Still, we couldn't find the notes of them. But he formed another kind of harmonical form for cello. And Muammer Sun, you must have his name. We have a room entrance of our müdürlük, which you are using the toilet. So there's a room for Muammer Sun. He's that composer, very famous, also our school's composer. But his also composing style is different as Kemal Demirci. Much more folkloric, much more traditional, much more Anatolian, let's say. These are not the examples of the mixture of French or German school influenced composers. These are much more Anatolian style composers. He composed only 2 pieces, the ones you see with the names. Ateşçi, these are all flower names. Ateşçi is a flower. Also, Can Güzeli is also a flower. Çiçek Bahçesi is also the name of a bouquet of flowers. So, Efe Püskülü is another flower. Morse Halkım, Sevda Çiçeği, normally a bunch of small pieces which we made the interview with the key of these pieces. Also, we have that in our YouTube channel. Normally, he composed for two different pieces. And the first piece and the others have not recorded yet still. Kamran İnce, have you heard his name? He has been in Italy for, as far as I know, 3 months, which he won a, please have a seat. He's, for his career, he's one of our most important composers of our time. Also, Kamran İnce, he lives in the States, I think in Texas. We made a huge recording for 4 hours with him. We divided that recording for 2 pieces because it was too long. The first piece is live, the second piece for his pieces for cello. He also, in the first part of his life, he was also a cello student, also student of Ali Doğan. Then he turned to cello. He left the cello and turned to be a composer. He's still composing many beautiful pieces. You may find them more easily than the others, the first examples which I gave. The last piece he composed was a cello concerto, which is played by our orchestra, academic orchestra, and Ramshan Afan, she was a soloist maybe 5 years ago in Ankara Classic Music Festival. They played it the first time. He is one of the most many pieces he composed, which is very important to us. Hasan Uçarsı is now the head of Viyolonsel Conservatory. He is a pupil of İran Usmanbaş. He is very famous in Turkey now. And he composed only one piece, which Anadolu Güzel for cello and piano in 2019, and which is not played too often. You may have heard this name, Aslı. He is one of my close friends. We educated at the same time. This is cool. He likes cello. Many pieces. Never Give Up. That cello concerto is Camille Thomas, the cellist, the French and French cellist, who ordered it to Basel, and she plays for many times. Still plays many times. And Four Cities Sonata, they played it with Nicolas Harstedt last year in Izmir. I just went to hear how they play. It was marvelous. Basel is very famous in the world, as far as I know. So he promotes his pieces by himself. It's one of very famous examples of our Turkish cellos. Özkan Mana is close friend of Hasan Uçarsı, also pupil of İran Usmanbaş. He must be, he is already in the Üniversite Conservatorium composition department, but he composed a three-form cello piece. By our research, that piece it is the most frequent played cello piece in our history. We have counted more than 62 or 63 times it's played by Turkish cellists. So Özkan Mana is also very famous in Turkey. He is very important. Turgay Erdener is my harmonics teacher. He was also graduated from here, from Kemal Çağlar and Kemal Çağlar. He is a very famous also Turkish composer. He still composes many things. These are, you see there is some quartet and soprano pieces. These are written for his wife, Selva Erdener, also my best friend, and there was a cello quartet, cello quartet. That time it's written for them mostly. That's why all the pieces for cello quartet and orchestra, soprano and cello, he mostly composed for his wife and that quartet. Now that quartet dissolved. There is no more that quartet, so he doesn't compose for cello anymore. I hope he will do it again. He's teaching in Istanbul. He retired a few years ago from our school. Very respected teacher. Onur Türkkan is also from Ankara, but from Bilkent, another école, another school. He's writing many good pieces, but in different form. That Hayaletler, the last piece he's composing, is a concerto for a cellist and orchestra. So his style is not traditional, not modern, not, let's say, Western influence, a different culture, but very good composer also. Armando Durda is from Istanbul. He is a pupil of Kamran İnce. He's teaching in Malta University Conservatoire. He composed two main pieces for his wife also, Russian, but he composed both of pieces for her. These are beautiful pieces. He educated in United States with Kamran İnce. He went there. In general, we have 202 composers, 442 pieces, 41 women, female composers, 139 piano accompanied pieces, 111 solo pieces, 67 concertos, 68 duets, and 55 ensemble pieces. Most piece which composed by a composer, first Melis Senem, he's a teacher in Aydın. Hakan Ertoker, he's living in Istanbul, and another genius guy. Onur Türkkan, which you saw, İnan Sonbaş, which you saw, and Fazıl Say, 8 pieces. Till 2000, year of 2000, there was 96 pieces composed. After 2000, 348 pieces, which means it's much frequent thing to compose something for Turkish cello or cello in Turkey, which means there was no enough source or composer to make some pieces. The first electronic used piece, which is composed by İlhan Mimaroğlu, another very old, who lived in States, which composed in 1980s, still life they call it the piece name. It's for cello and electronics. We couldn't find 81 pieces, notes, scores. 25 of them complete those. We don't know completely, nowhere, but the rest is for some reasons we couldn't reach. So these are the statics. Would you like to ask something? I would be very delighted to answer.
How the style has shifted from imitation of Western style to music mixed with Turkish influences. Because you tell me that before 2000 there were less pieces, and then there was a flourishing of more pieces. Is that
the reason is the main role for Turkish composition was in our school. The only option was İstanbul Mimar Sinan, which is founded in 1971 by also our İlhan Usmanbaş, also our teachers. No other culture. Only exception was Cemal Reşit, which was educated in Paris in 1920s, but he got early got back by the order of the Turk. So, İlhan Mimaroğlu, a few different examples were, let's say, not in the neighborhood. So, after 2000, let's say, in that time, Muammer Sun, Kemal Derviş, they were different examples, different, still in our school or in our environment, but they were the different ones. I should say I'm not a musical historian, I'm just a cello player. I'm teaching here since 34 years. I'm also graduated, let's say, Başak, but I have many students, but I'm not a music historian. I'm an amateur for this kind of things, but I love to learn what happens. After 2000, there were many examples, many schools, many conservatories, many opportunities to go abroad. States, Europe, many different, but not Japan, not Australia, not Argentina, nothing different, but in conventional alternatives we had. So, but still, there is many different styles. You know, some is completely different than Nuri, Sami, KORAL, or Mimaroğlu. They are different. I'm not an expert for that, but let's say we have many options. The disadvantage for us, we don't have recordings then. We don't have notes we didn't have. Now I have. But I cannot reproduce because copyrights. I have on my possession, but I cannot give anyone. As for a composer wanted me to do the other way. But normally they don't. These are all my possession. So I think we can record and we can see what happened, but first we have to record. We come that point now after 15 years. We have made a huge research and there is no recording of how many violin pieces, how many piano pieces in Turkey, nobody knows. But we know for cello. How many flute pieces, how many clarinet pieces, nobody knows. But we know. At least the names, most of them is 443 pieces, 81 is notes, it means 362 pieces notes we have now today. So it's a lot for us.
In a normal way, so maybe I felt that what I said is really, oh, I'm sorry. Because I thought it was something to really yes, written but not composed but not written. So amazing. But anyway, and always music in Turkey, when started to be really composition, when it started to be really connected with local, with ethnic, with the classical Turkish music, when it started to be connected with the tradition. So, for example, I have relationships with composers from Iran, for example, and he comes in Europe like wrote in Syria and they want to study composition, but we forget their origin. Because they try to become sort of straight European. They want to write in a sort of straight European style. And I think that because we come from a region that has peculiarities, correlation with a very precise peculiarities. So you have to put peculiarities of your nation in your music. And that's why this composer, for instance, wrote Greeks for clarinet and he put some roots of riff scales in his composition. And the teacher, also the question, was very happy of this stuff. So when we started composition, writing for cello, but trying to be quite original, and so there are some schools for cello composing that are very peculiar in this musical research of, let's say. So of this 400 pieces,
443.
400, more than 400 pieces. How many pieces can be traced as really Turkish pieces?
Most of them. Most of them. 1935, there was a piece composed by the Sami KORAL, which is the opening music of our channel, which is Türkü. Türkü means a song, a traditional song. Let's say in 1941, Hasan Ferit cello concert. It is very folkloric.
For example, contemporary music in a very modern way starts after the Second War. Started the new way of thinking of contemporary. We can say that music, more or less, we cut in with a big knife, more than 19th century music ends before the Second War. So we are talking also of the music of that period with the 1941.
Yeah, it's
So it's before.
It's
There are many traces of Turkish music. So
contemporary composers is less. Very few, not much.
historical,
Yes, Muhammed, Sunan, these are very traditional music composers.
and they can easily recognize that as coming from the Turkish tradition. That's
Yes.
right.
Of course, we are using polyphonic music. I'm not trying to be an expert about discussion these because I'm just a cello player. But as far as I know, I feel Anatolian spread in many pieces of our music.
Can you please explain me, if it's possible, how are these, what are the few lines, the characteristics, the main characteristics of Anatolian way of writing? For example, straight, straight, what's the
feeling of Anatolian. My master's degree is about the influences of classic music affected by crusades. I researched a lot about it. I'm still searching for the place of where happened the first and second Dorian War. Do you know what's the Dorian War? Dorian War. First and second Dorian War.
yes.
It is the main conflict in the first Anatolian conflict between Selçuk Empire and the first Crusades, which is not still couldn't be found. It is still somewhere in history. We are searching for it. I'm trying to be one of the searchers of it. We still don't know where Malazgirt happened, the first war, which Turks entered. So I know a few things about traditions, don't worry. But the feeling, you feel here, you don't feel here. These are traditional music, but there is some Western type of composers we have, Anatolian style of composers, and there is some different examples, not Anatolian, or you cannot completely divide the cultures. So, you're welcome. if you like to enter my YouTube channel, you will see many different aspects of thinking about Turkish cello pieces. There will be many discussions. Yalçın Türk also, he gave us his concerto's first recording by Oğuzhan Kavur, was the soloist, he's called a friend of mine. So, there's many examples. I don't say this, I'm just a cellist, but you may see and find many different variations of our culture. Thank you very much.